Okay. We're going to start today laying on our backs. So you can lay however is comfortable for you. You can hug the knees into the chest. You can have your legs on the ground. Just really however is comfortable for you when you arrive. And take a nice cleansing breath to start your practice. Big inhale through the nose and release it all through the mouth. And as you release your breath, feel your back body settle into the mat. Feel the entire length and width of your back melt closer into your mat. And in whatever your position you're in, find a little bit more softness. Relax the forehead a little bit more. Relax the eyelids and the jaw. And even feel your brain relax closer to the mat. The ears, the neck, and the shoulders. And then gently placing your hands on your belly. Breathe into your hands here. And feel the belly expanding into the hands as you breathe in. And feel the belly fall away from the hands as you breathe out. And taking 5 breaths like this, filling up your belly like a balloon, filling up with air, and letting it go. And after your last exhale, you can allow your breath to return to its natural state. And hug one knee into your chest and extend the other leg long on your mat. And you can place your hand on your left hip or whatever leg is straight on that hip, just to encourage that hip to stay rooted down. And start to take some circles with your knee, the knee that's lifted, and feeling your foot relax as you do this. Just drawing these circles, going in one direction a few times, and then switching directions. Just feeling the hip moving in its socket, warming up the joint. And then you can guide your knee back to center and just extend the sole of your foot up to face the ceiling and really reach through the heel of your foot and feel the back of your knee really bright. And you can hold the leg wherever you can. It's not really important where you're holding it. Letting your leg be at any angle. Just feeling a nice stretch down the hamstring. Let your shoulders relax onto the mat. Awesome. And then slowly with control, see if you can lower your floating leg to meet your resting leg. Oh yeah, grab your strap. And then when you're ready, you can hug in the other knee to your chest. And taking a moment just to feel that knee, hug it in real tight, and placing your other hand on your hip, just encouraging that grounding of the opposite hip. And then taking big circles with your knee on this side. Going in one direction a few times. And then switching directions. And you can notice any pops or creaks or cracks that happen. Maybe one side feels a bit tighter than the other. That is normal. And then when you're feeling even in the hips, you can extend this leg face up toward the ceiling. And yeah, grabbing your strap. Sorry, I didn't say that on the other side. But if you have a strap or a shirt even, you can hold either side of that. But just encourage the back of your knee to reach away from you. You really feel a big stretch down the hamstring. A few more breaths. Breathe into the back of the leg. And then slowly and with control, you can bring your left leg to meet your right. Feeling the length of your body when you arrive, just releasing here for a moment in our corpse pose. And then from here, you can raise your right arm so the bicep comes alongside the ear. And then roll onto your side and come all the way onto your belly. So you're on your belly facing the back of your mat. And you can make a pillow with your hands and bend your knees in toward the bum and windshield wiper the legs a few times. Massaging the belly against the mat. Releasing your back. Great. And then you can come into your Sphinx pose as you're ready. So coming onto the elbows, letting the elbows be just slightly in front of the shoulders. Awesome. Rooting down in the forearms and the hands, pressing your pubic bone into the mat, pressing your big toes into the mat and zipping up your legs so that they're squeezing closer to each other. Your gaze is just in front of the mat and the neck is nice and long. Feeling the broadness of your collarbones, the heart pulling through the arms. And you can look over each of your shoulders. Just warming up the neck, warming up the shoulders. And then coming back to center. You can release your head back down to the ground and just slide your hands underneath your shoulders and point your elbows straight up, keeping them in tight toward the ribs. And spread your fingers really, really wide here, like we do in tabletop and down dog, so that you feel the skin in between the fingers stretching. And then pull the navel into the spine, activate your core, and feel like you're pushing the ground away from you as you bring yourself up to your tabletop. Awesome. You can take a few cat-cows here. Warm up the spine. Move with your breath. Maybe wag the tail a few times. And then once you're feeling nice and loose within the spine, you can release down to your child's pose and take a breath here. Let your hips sink down onto the heels in whatever version of your child's pose that you're in. And then start to activate your child's pose, rooting your hands into the mat. Drag yourself back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, lift the hips back and up to your downward facing dog. And pedal out the feet or keep the knees as bent as they need to be. First down dog of the day, maybe it's later in the day. Just letting yourself slowly unravel into this pose. Not forcing yourself to get to where you left off in this pose, just honoring where you are right now. You can stretch out the soles of your feet, coming onto the balls of the feet, and feel like you're bringing your heels up over the balls of your feet, really stretching into the arches. Awesome. And keep lifting the sit bones higher and keep wrapping the shoulders around. So almost as if your armpits were facing each other. Awesome. One more breath here. And then you can bend the knees, look up towards your hands, and start to walk your feet to meet your hands. We'll land in our halfway lift. Long spine as you inhale. Exhale and forward fold. Now releasing your forward fold for 5 breaths, bending the knees as much as you need. Sorry. He's playing with my hair. Releasing the spine. There you go. Okay, sorry, Mom. And then slowly roll up your spine, coming up to stand in your mountain pose. Rolling the shoulders back at the top, bringing the palms to face out. Arriving in your mountain pose. Sorry. So you can just turn back to face the front of your mat and walk up to the front of your mat. And from here, I'll rise the hands up as you inhale. And exhale, dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and release. Plant the hands, step back to your plank. Move through your version of a vinyasa flow, and we'll meet in our down dogs. Oh. Awesome. All right, on your next inhale, you can raise your right leg back and up. And keep reaching through either the heel or the ball of your foot, whatever makes the most sense in your body. And just keep your core really strong here. And then as you're ready, you can bend your knee in towards your chest and shift your weight forward, bringing your right foot to the top of your mat. And just allow your back knee to drop down, and we'll come into our low lunge. Awesome. So your front knee is over front ankle. You can bring your hands onto your right thigh and start to lift your heart away from the thigh. Beautiful. Feeling really strong in your right foot. And also rooting down in the top of your back foot to keep your back leg active as well. Looks perfect. Feeling a really nice stretch down the left hip flexor. Awesome. Then you can bring your hands to heart center and just start to twist towards your right. So you might just twist a little bit, or you might hook your left elbow on the outside of the knee. Now, wherever you are, just trying to encourage your hands to stay toward heart center. A lot of times if you hook the elbows, the hands come over to the right. So, and that's okay, but just encourage it to come back to center and keep pushing your, so blanket under your back knee. That's a good option. And then just keep pushing your right knee into the left elbow back into the knee. One more breath. And then you can come back to center. Release your hands to frame your front foot and just lift your hips back and up to straighten out your front leg and your front leg. They're coming into this hamstring stretch. So you can lift your front toes off the mat, or you can try to place them down on the mat and just notice how that really changes the stretch. And you can do a combination of both or stick with one if it feels better. If you want to get deeper into the hamstrings, then keep that foot flexed. And keep pulling your right hip back so that you really feel the hips stay square. And then you can re-bend your front leg, plant your hands down, tuck your back toes, lift the back knee, and step back to your plank. Move through a flow if you would like, and we'll meet in our down dogs. You can let out a big sigh or flutter the lips. And then when you're ready, you can raise your left leg back and up. Same thing as the other side, either reaching through the heel of that foot or the ball of the foot, whatever makes the most sense. And then as you exhale, you can bend your knee in toward the chest, shift your weight forward, and place your foot at the top of the mat. You can grab your blanket and allow your back knee to drop down. Untuck those toes, and you can bring your hands back on to your left thigh. No rush at all. Coming into our low lunge on the left side. And with your hands interlacing on the top thigh, you can push your thigh away from your heart as you lift your heart away from the thigh. Feeling this nice little back bend. Rooting down in the top of your back foot as well as the four corners of your front foot. Great job. And then when you're ready, you can bring your hands to heart center and we'll do our twist. So you can twist just toward, like looking toward the left or hooking that elbow. Perfect. And just making sure to keep your knee from buckling inward, just keeping that right over the front ankle, keeping the top of your back foot active. Feeling that scissoring action in the hips. Another 2 breaths. And then gently unwind and come back to center. Bring your hands down to frame your front foot and then just lift your sit bones back, shift your weight onto your back knee and straighten out your left leg. And once again, you can do what we did before. So playing around with flexing the foot, pointing the foot, just noticing how that changes the stretch quite a bit. Another 2 breaths wherever you are. And then you can re-bend your front leg, plant your hands down around that foot, tuck the back toes, lift your back knee, and step back to your plank. Move through your vinyasa, and we'll meet in a down dog. Letting it go. Noticing what else is opening up for you. And then as you're ready, you can bend the knees, look up, and step up. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up to stand. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Take this moment to check back in. We'll do another flow on either side before we start the yin portion of the class. So when you feel ready, you can inhale, both arms rise up. And exhale, dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, release. Plant the hands, step back, move through your flow, and we'll meet in a down dog. Once you arrive, you can inhale, reach the right leg back and up. Then exhale to point the toes, stack the hips, and bend the knee. Opening up your hips to the right. Maybe looking under the right armpit for a moment, and then just squaring the shoulders back to the floor. And then leveling out the hips, bend the knee in toward the chest, and place your foot at the top of the mat. This time we will keep the back knee lifted, and we'll rise up to our high lunge. So your back knee and back heel are lifted up. If this is really challenging, you're always welcome to come back to your low lunge. But challenging yourself to stay steady here, keeping your hips square to the front. And it's helpful for me to keep my back heel over the ball of the foot to kind of keep that super active. Perfect. Awesome. So you can inhale, reach the arms really high, and root down in your tailbone as you lift up through the fingertips and crown of the head. You feel that super nice stretch. That was perfect form, Mom. Awesome. So now from here, we'll come into our warrior 3 pose. So you can slowly start to bring your hands back behind you in kind of like this airplane pose, or you can bring your hands to your hips for a little extra balance help. And then slowly start to shift your weight toward your right foot and rise your left foot off of the ground, keeping the hips square to the mat in warrior 3. And you can always put your hands on stuff to balance, but the goal is to keep your torso in line with your foot. So if your foot is that low, your torso is like this. And then the goal is to be parallel to the floor. And yeah, your arms can be in any expression. Perfect. And then see if you can really slowly and with control lower into your warrior 2 pose. So kind of stacking your left hip on top of the right, opening the hips up to your left. Perfect. Awesome. Taking a moment here in your warrior 2. And then slowly straightening out your front leg and turning your feet parallel to each other, coming into our wide leg forward fold. Inhaling to lift the heart slightly and exhaling to forward fold. Releasing here, letting the head dangle yes and no. Shifting the weight slightly more toward the balls of the feet. Taking any movements that feels good. And then you can slowly start to walk your hands over toward your left foot and turn your left toes to face the back of your mat as you rise your right heel off the mat and come back up to your high lunge on the other side. So again, you can keep that back heel really active over the ball of the foot. That's helpful for me. But if there's another way that feels steadier for you, maybe extending that heel closer to the floor, you can try that as well. There's always permission to play around in the poses. Once you find that balance, feeling your inner thighs scissoring toward each other, you can rise your arms up and get really long in the side body. So root down in your tailbone as you lift up through the fingertips and crown of the head. Awesome. And then slowly, as you're ready, transitioning into your warrior 3. So bringing your hands wherever makes sense and starting to shift your weight into your left foot, coming into warrior 3. Awesome. It's really helpful to keep your back or your floating leg really active. So flexing all the muscles there, flexing the core. Awesome job. Such good balance. And then slowly, seeing how slowly you can do it with control, lower back into your warrior two pose. Awesome. Taking a moment here, just feeling the hips open up. So good. And then slowly straightening out your left leg, turning your feet parallel to each other, and come back into your wide leg forward fold. Taking 3 more breaths here. And then slowly starting to walk the hands up the legs, bring yourself back up to stand. Letting the blood settle once you arrive. And then we will start to slow down and come into the yin portion of class. So when you're ready, you can turn back to face the front of your mat and bring your hands down to frame your front foot. Step back to a plank, move through one final flow, and we'll meet in our down dog. Once you arrive in down dog, you can slowly lower your knees into your tabletop position. And we will come into our pigeon pose. So you can bring your right knee behind the right wrist and the foot off to the left. And start to scooch your left knee back. Coming into your expression of pigeon pose. If this is really difficult for you today, you're always welcome to do a reclined pigeon. So keeping the heart lifted for as long as you'd like, and then slowly starting to walk your hands forward first, and then coming down onto the forearms so that you encourage that length in the spine. And we will be here for about 3 minutes. So just not forcing yourself deep into this posture right away, allowing yourself to slowly open up, using whatever props you have available. Letting your breath guide you deeper into the pose. Starting to notice how this is feeling in your hips, or how this is feeling wherever it's speaking the loudest. And letting these areas soften with each exhale. Feeling just how much your hip can release. And really honoring how much your body unfolds with just a little bit of patience, just a little bit of time, a little bit of breathing. And we'll be here for just about 5 more breaths. Just seeing what else you can let go, seeing what else you can soften. Making sure to relax the face, the jaw, the shoulders, all the muscles that aren't being targeted, as well as the targeted muscles. Taking one more full breath. And very slowly, as you're ready, you can start to walk your hands back onto the mat, walking them closer to your hips. Tuck the back toes and just start to scooch that knee in really slowly and gently, kind of peeling yourself out of this pose. And then kicking your right foot back, shaking that leg out. Maybe resetting the hips with whatever you need to do, child's pose, wagging the tail. And we will be doing that on the other side. So whenever you're ready, you can bring your left knee behind the left wrist, and the foot comes off to the right, and scooching the right knee back as much as you need to make space for the hips. And same thing over here. Letting yourself unfold naturally. Walking or keeping the spine long as you do so. You can notice right away how this side feels compared to the last. And honoring this side as well. So letting yourself come to your natural stopping point and just breathing there, listening there. And then slowly, as your body is ready, letting that limit expand and deepen. Relaxing your forehead, relaxing your jaw and your shoulders. And noticing any muscles that are still resisting within the hips. And with all of your attention in that resistance, communicating release to that area of the body. So feeling all that energy that's being used to pull the muscles closer together to resist the stretch. And then using that same energy and just flipping that to soften and to separate the muscles, to expand them. Every time you exhale, letting go of one more thing. About 5 more deep breaths. And then very slowly, as you feel ready, and begin to walk the hands back on the mat toward the hips. And this time, let's just shift the weight, or just come out of it however you want to. You can come back into your three-legged table, shake out the leg, or you can come onto your bum, bring the legs out in front of you and shake them out there. But we will meet sitting on our bums when you're ready. So this is a nice sort of counter to that. We'll come into our butterfly pose. And we'll be here for 3 minutes as well. But whenever you're ready, there's no rush at all. And bring the soles of your feet closer to your seat or further away. But whenever you're ready, you can just allow your torso to curl, your head to release, spine to surrender. Heaven. You can even kind of make a fist with your hands and rest your head there. That can be nice. Like this. And really releasing all the muscles in the face, so feeling them hang off of the bones. Relaxing the shoulders. Relaxing the tongue. Letting your pelvic floor completely soften. Noticing how your body's unfolding, how you might be opening up. Noticing where the mind is going in these passive poses. And continually guiding your mind back to this moment, back to this pose, back to your breath, back to your body. And each time you notice that the mind has left the moment or left the body, that in itself is bringing you back to the present. And releasing for about 4 more breaths. Seeing what else you can let go of. Really slowly and gently begin to walk the hands back toward your seat. And grab the outsides of the knees and slowly bring them in together. Do whatever you need to reset. You can hug the knees toward the chest. You can windshield wiper back and forth. And then as you feel ready, you can slowly come back down to lay on our backs. And sort of like how we started the practice, just releasing in any pose that first comes to you, that first feels comfortable. And noticing the difference between now and when we first laid down on our mats. We will do another torso twist, or just we'll do a torso twist to finish up the practice today. So when you're ready, you can bring the soles of your feet to the ground, shift your hips to the right and your knees to the left. And start to wring out the spine. You can turn your gaze to your right. And we'll only be here for about a minute. Just letting your belly be soft, letting your face be soft. Letting yourself be fully in this pose. And 3 more breaths here. And then when you're ready, gently guide your head to center, your knees to center, and your hips. Feel the difference for a moment. When you're ready, shift your hips to the left and let your knees come to the right. You can turn your gaze to look off to your left and fully surrender in this pose. Feel this massaging of the organs, this wringing out of the spinal cord. Letting everything about this pose be soft. Letting your body surrender into the pose. Surrender beneath gravity. And taking another 3 deep breaths here. And then slowly guiding your head, your knees, and hips back to center. To finish the practice, we'll just hug the knees into the chest for a moment and then bring the legs up toward the ceiling, bring the arms up to the ceiling, and just communicate to your torso to release and surrender into the mat. Let the blood rush away from the hands and feet. And feel the entire length and width of your back flat against the mat. Take another 3 breaths here. And then come into your happy baby as you're ready. Whatever feels natural. You can be still here. You can find movement. And then whenever you're ready, you can release into your final Shavasana or your reclined butterfly pose, whatever feels best. Letting yourself arrive there whenever you're ready. And allowing the full weight of your body to be supported by the mat beneath you, by the earth beneath your mat. Let all the tension in your toes melt away. Let your feet be heavy. Relax the ankles. Relax your calves and your shins. Relax the knees, the thighs, and the glutes. Let your hips surrender. Your pelvic floor completely softens as your low and middle belly are completely soft. Relax your rib cage. Relax your chest and your heart center. Let your shoulders be heavy into your mat as you feel the length of your arms with your hands rooting heavy into the mat. Notice that pulsing sensation in the palms of your hands. And follow that pulse up the arms, through the shoulder blades, meeting at the back of your heart in the space between the shoulder blades. And feel your heart beating into the earth. Feel that pulse travel up the back of your neck to the back of your skull, spreading throughout your entire skull as your jaw relaxes deeper, your cheeks soften more, and your eyeballs rest heavy into your head. Let your forehead expand as your brain rests towards the back of your mat. Notice the pulsing of your forehead and of the crown of your head as you rest for about another minute in this total body awareness. If you would like to stay longer, please feel free to do so. And if you're ready to come out of this pose, you can allow my cues to guide you. Starting off by deepening the breath, letting your body fill up with air with each inhale. Wiggling the fingers, the toes, maybe taking a big morning stretch. Letting out a big yawn. You can hug the knees into your chest and find your way to a fetal position. And as you feel ready, gently pushing your top hand into the ground, making your way back up to your seat. And meeting with our hands at heart center when you arrive. And Firstly, thanking yourself for your practice today. May this continue to heal you into a wonderful night's sleep, and may you bring some of this love and light to everything you do and to everyone that you see. Namaste.